Welcome along to today's Youth Enquiry Service podcast episode. I'm Blake.
I'm Dale. This month we are focusing on mental health and wellbeing, and we are delighted to be joined by Linda Biggar, who is a Principal Educational Psychologist with Dumfries and Galloway Council.
Welcome along, Linda. We're happy to have you here with us today.
Thanks, good to be here.
To get us started, we want to know if you could be a cartoon character, what would you be and why?
Could it be two different ones?
Yeah, that's fine.
At home, I'd like to be Lisa Simpson because she's got everything together and she can play saxophone, and I can only play 3 chords on the guitar. But at work, I'd like to be Bugs Bunny because you know how Bugs Bunny does all that thinking and planning and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what we do at work as well. But Bugs Bunny's always just so chilled and relaxed, so I'd go with that.
Good choice.
So, what cartoon characters would you two like to be?
You can go first, Dale.
So I probably would be Curious George because I'm quite a curious person. I'm always on an adventure, no matter where it is. So I'd be Curious George. What would you be, Blake?
I think I'd be Santa's little helper from The Simpsons because he's always someplace but you don't know where he is, and he is quite a lot of fun. That's how I would be, thank you.
I think those are excellent characters.
Thank you. To go into questions, can you tell us about what a Principal Educational Psychologist is and more about your role?
Okay, so the principal bit there just means that I lead up our team, but we have a whole group of educational psychologists who work with young people. And essentially an educational psychologist is somebody that's been trained in psychology and child development so that they can help young people overcome barriers to learning or generally to reduce barriers in the environment for young people. So our focus is very much about learning and helping young people make that progress.
When would a young person engage with an educational psychologist?
So young people often become known to us relatively early on, and that might be if their learning is not going as expected or there's things that are getting in the way of learning. And that can be anything from a disability or a health need or family circumstances, social and emotional stuff, even the learning environment itself. So when things aren't going so well, the first we often hear about a young person is when either the adults around them in school or the parents or carers might get in touch with us to say, we're a bit stuck and we're looking for a bit of advice. That wouldn't be direct work with a young person, but it's starting to be able to explore what could we be doing differently that might help them. Further down the line, if a young person's needs are still ongoing and they're still a bit stuck with their learning and so on, then they might come referred to us and have an open file.
That's great. How do young people get referred to educational psychologists?
Okay, so when we're just starting the conversations about young people, school staff or any education staff for that matter, all they do is they get consent from the young person to be able to talk about them and look at what might help. And those education staff, all they have to do is click a link on a booking system that we have and they get an appointment with a psychologist. For parents and carers, when they want to talk to us about a young person, they can go into the council website and there's an email inbox and they just contact us that way and we phone them back. Young people, when they have an open file with us, it tends to be school staff that refer to us or sometimes partners from health and social work. Theoretically, anybody can refer to us. We've got what's called an open referral system, but because our job's about education, the first thing we'll often do is go to the school anyway to find out about your learning in school and what it looks like day to day, that kind of thing. So the usual route tends to be through a school, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
We are seeing a lot of young people on social media platforms providing advice and support around mental health. What would your advice be on how to navigate this?
I think it's good that we're talking about this and people want to access it and explore it and so on. I think when people are seeking advice about mental health, it's like anything else. You have to look at your source. Who are you asking about it? And we wouldn't go up in the street to some random stranger and say, give me advice about my mental health. And we wouldn't do that because we don't trust them, we don't know if they're qualified, we don't know if they're safe. So the best thing that we can do is go through trusted sources. So we know that the Youth Enquiry website and Youth Enquiry Service website, we know CAM's websites, they have loads of links to podcasts, videos, websites and so on that we know are trusted and are going to be a good, solid source of information.
Yeah, that's great.
What would your top tips be to give to young people on how to look after their health and well-being?
I think it's about finding your own recipe. I think we've all got different recipes for staying well. And it's often little things that make life feel a bit better for us, whether that's doing hobbies that we like or sports or people we speak to or watching a favourite TV show or whatever. And I think sometimes we overlook them and think they're just wee things, and yet those are the things that can make life feel okay for us. We can't ignore that getting enough sleep and exercise, preferably one that you enjoy, regular meals and so on. These are all important as well. And a lot of people find having some kind of routine gives some, when you feel you can't control other things in your life, sometimes just knowing that this is the time that you eat at or you go to bed at or whatever can be really helpful. I think it's also about people not bottling things up, speaking to people that you can trust, and also that thing about just taking one step at a time. When people feel down, it can feel like it stretches way out before them, but it's just about if you can chunk it into let's get through today and see what tomorrow brings. So yeah, but I think everybody has their own recipe.
Can I ask a question about that? So when you said exercise, does that mean even you could just go out for a tiny walk round the block with your dog or with a family member?
Absolutely.
And just talk about stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And the walking one's interesting because you often find if you walk with somebody, it's actually kind of easier to chat to them because they're not facing you, and it just feels nice and relaxed, and you're getting fresh air and moving your body a bit. I think that, yeah, I agree, that's an excellent idea.
Thank you, they're great tips. Thank you for being with us here today, Linda. We have really enjoyed talking to you. Before we finish up, we would love to know what you love most about your job and any tips to young people out there that might be considering a career as an educational psychologist.
Okay, so these days in my job I don't get to work directly with young people as much anymore, but that is the part that I love, and that's, although we can do training and research and so on, there's nothing quite beats working alongside a young person, doing blocks of sessions and seeing their improvement across time. So sometimes we'll use rating scales and so on. It might be about measuring well-being or confidence or whatever. And I love that thing about when you start off and they're going, oh, I'm maybe at a 1 or something. And then over the weeks you see them rising and you see the confidence growing. And it's really been in a privileged position to be able to witness that and to watch young people be able to use their own resources to create that change.
Thank you, Linda. That's the end of today's podcast, and we want to thank Linda for joining us today. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms for the next week's episode. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Follow us to keep up with more podcasts.